it's the Lawn Gnome, and welcome to the first episode of Fandom Feature of 2020 here on my channel. First of all, welcome back if you have been watching for a while, and for those of you who are new, I'm hoping that you're excited to watch me gush and fanboy about some of what I think are my favorite movies and best movies of all time in that massive collection over there that you see. So, based on what I did last year, which was try and talk about some of my all-time favorite movies that were actually approaching landmark anniversaries, I wanted to try as best as I could to continue on with that theme this year in 2020. And let me just say, it has been so challenging for me to try and pick the 12 or possibly even franchises that I want to talk about this year, especially considering that I'm going to be reformatting my channel in 2021, and Fandom Feature is not going to be continuing on as Fandom Feature. So, I really wanted to make the next 12 episodes truly special with some truly great movies. And the first one that we're going to talk about was something that I feel I had to revisit and review. So, in case you are new to my channel, you probably missed my Best and Worst of the Decade series that I did last year at the end of December, and I had a couple of guests. I'll put some links in the video at the end. And when I was discussing film with my friend Taylor over at Page Screen Taylor, I declared that the best movie of the decade was David Fincher's The Social Network, starring Jesse Eisenberg, Armie Hammer, Andrew Garfield, and Justin Timberlake. That was a movie that a lot of people love. There's people that feel that it's overrated. It was a movie that got nominated for Best Picture of the Year, but apparently didn't win, and The King's Speech won, and there were other movies that were on par with the revolutionary style that this film was done along with it, and they didn't even win, and the Oscars just went with usual formula, but that's not the point that I'm trying to make here. So, I loved The Social Network, I praised The Social Network, but I had to say to myself, is this really what you feel was the best movie of the last 10 years? Yes, it is. I rewatched this movie, and I love this movie even more. It ages well, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, we all knew who David Fincher was, especially if we were people who watched the movie Fight Club back in 2010. I mean, obviously that movie came out in 99, but 2010 was when he teamed up with screenwriter Aaron Sorkin, another name that some people did know, but not that many people knew much of his work, especially if they didn't watch The West Wing. But when these two minds came together and gave us a story revolving around something that people didn't even think about because it was also recent history. The story of Mark Zuckerberg creating the social media empire today known as Facebook. People were saying, why would anybody want to see a movie about something so mundane? But I knew about this director and this screenwriter, and I thought that the cast was so great. I said to myself, there's something here. I know it. And I went to go see that movie in theaters, and funny enough, I didn't walk out loving it at first, but as time moved on and I bought the DVD and I kept rewatching it, I just loved it. I really think that this is such a unique story and a unique style of film, and there are also so many other great things scattered throughout this movie. And I mean, I think the best part about this movie is the fact that you've really got to listen, because it is very dialogue-driven, and Aaron Sorkin knows how to make lightning-fast dialogue, especially when you see the first part of the film where Mark Zuckerberg is talking with his soon-to-be ex-girlfriend, who is played brilliantly by the unknown at the time, now superstar Rooney Mara, who has been in a great many films since. That conversation just goes right past you if you're not listening. There are still points in time where I still have to rewind that and take a look at this. But the whole interesting thing about this story is it revolves around unpopular people. And when those people have the opportunity to try and become one of the cool kids, it is just incredible how devious and how evil some of these people can be. And it is amazing to see how friendships get tested, relationships get demolished. It is such a dark yet realistic human story about human nature. The acting in this film is absolutely stellar. The fact that we got to see Rooney Mara, Andrew Garfield, Jesse Eisenberg, Armie Hammer, Rashida Jones, the great David Selby, even Justin Timberlake, who at that time, you know, he was still from the whole NSYNC boy band pop star that the people who were just not fans of that kind of music didn't really care about. But my God, if there's anyone that really gives me the acting performance of the film, it's Justin Timberlake. And as far as I can remember, he didn't get nominated for a Best Supporting Actors award, and that is so wrong because he was such a scumbag in this film. And the fact that we got to see a pretty boy play a scumbag, that's pretty awesome and risky on his part. And the direction of the film is great. And another thing that I have to praise about this film is the soundtrack. This was also a landmark movie because it was the first time that Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails and Atticus Ross got together and decided, let's make a film soundtrack. And even though I have to say, in that very same year, Tron Legacy came out, and the soundtrack for that movie was done by the great Daft Punk. It didn't get nominated at the Oscars, but Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross became the first rock/heavy metal artist to ever win an Oscar for a soundtrack, and that was a landmark. And now, Trent Reznor and Nine Inch Nails are in the Hall of Fame, and rightfully so. Atticus Ross as well, because now he works with Nine Inch Nails a lot, so great job. This soundtrack definitely drives the movie. It puts you on the edge of your seat. It makes you excited to see what happens, and it really gets you into the story of the creation of Facebook and everything that was involved. There's also some very, very hard-hitting, powerful moments in this movie that just makes them amazing, and especially how they're sort of, I guess the right way to say it is how they are sizzling, and then when they finally get to that boiling point, the top of the pot just blows up. That scene where David Selby's character asks Mark Zuckerberg, "Do I have your attention?" And then he just turns to him, and Jesse Eisenberg just gives me one of the most disgusting lines of dialogue because of how dark and how truly self-centered he is. Now, is that truly who Mark Zuckerberg is? No, I don't think that that's the case, but obviously for cinematic value, you have to do these types of things in order to make these movies truly move. But when that movie gets to the end and you hear "Baby You're a Rich Man" by the Beatles, especially with the final line that is delivered by Rashida Jones, who says to Mark Zuckerberg, "You're not an asshole, Mark, you just try so damn hard to be one," that's powerful. And The Social Network is truly one of the most iconic films that have came out in recent years, and that's one of those movies that made us understand that the last decade really was a great revolutionary year for film, because we really got directors and screenwriters trying to break the mold and give us some of these kinds of stories that many wouldn't even turn an eye to because it just seems so plain and boring, but they just know how to make these things exciting, and The Social Network was one of the leaders of this brand new movement in film. So that's it, everybody. Those are my thoughts on The Social Network. Please leave your comments in the box below. I'd love to talk to you about this movie, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in another fandom feature next month. Take care. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.